الرجاء.
Please put your mobile phones on silent and please fill in the questionnaire so we can develop upcoming events. In the name of Allah, the compassionate, the merciful, peace be with all of you. On behalf of His Excellency Dr. Jamal Sanad Suwaidi, Director General of the Emirates Center for Strategic Studies and Research, I would like to welcome all of you on this lecture entitled A Future Perspective on the Space Science and Technology by Engineer Omran Sharaf, Project Manager of the Emirates Mars Mission Hope Probe at MBRSC at UAE. Engineer Omran Sharaf obtained BSc in Electric Engineering from Virginia University in the USA. In 2005, he also obtained a master's degree in from the KAIST in Korea in the year 2013. He also assumed responsibility for the Hope Probe project for exploring Mars, and he and his team are responsible for directing and managing all the activities in this regard. He has a wide range experience, and he was trained in the USA and South Korea, and was responsible for developing solutions for satellite image utilization, and in Dubai Set 1, and also was responsible for the engineering, system engineering and subsystem engineering for data analysis and for Dubai Set. Moreover, during the period from 2011 and 2014, he worked as the Director of Space Image Processing and Analysis Department, developing solutions for satellite image utilization in various applications, analyzing images to support decision makers, and developing image enhancement techniques and better image quality. From 2014 to 2016, he was Director of the Program Management Department, where he was responsible for coming up with new strategic initiatives for Dubai and MBRSC for overseeing ongoing projects within the organization. He is a member of the UAE's delegation to the International Committee on Global Navigation Satellite Systems, ICG, of which he was also chair. Mr. Sharaf, or Engineer Sharaf, is also the UAE's member of the UAE's delegation at the UNCOPUOS since 2010. I would like to call upon him to give his speech. Please, the floor is yours. In the name of Allah, the compassionate, the merciful, first and foremost, I would like to express my appreciation to His Excellency Dr. Jamal Sanad Suwaidi for hosting me at the Emirates Center for Strategic Studies and Research. It is a great honor to be here because this shows the attention the center attaches to the space sector and space sciences. Space sector. We always receive this question at the center, MBRSC, and also at other sectors. Why does the UAE select the space industry and the space sector in particular, and why does the UAE focus mainly on this sector? How did the UAE manage to build the necessary capacities within less than 50 years in a highly advanced sector like this sector? This question is quite simple actually, but the answer is quite complex. The story of the UAE with the space sector did not really start 5 years ago or 10 years ago. The experience of the UAE and its entry into the space sector started with the establishment of the UAE. Back then, we utilized and used the space technology. After the establishment of the UAE started building terrestrial stations to provide terrestrial communication and broadcast, TV broadcast services, and the necessary support for the telecom infrastructure in the UAE. What did we do? We utilized foreign satellites, and this was provided by private companies. In the 1990s, the UAE made a highly important decision at the beginning of the 1990s to establish the Thuraya company. It was a very critical step. It was the inception of a new era we transformed ourselves from users to operators of satellites, and we started using and operating satellite systems. Thoraya company purchased the three telecom satellites, but it also participated in a number of activities for compiling satellites and testing satellites, but we focused on operation. How can we manage satellite systems? How can we operate the satellite and establish the necessary infrastructure not only to utilize the service but to control satellites? The UAE gained a great deal of experience in this domain just by making that decision. It was a very important and strategic decision for the UAE. In the year 2005, we had the start of a new era when His Excellency, when His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum declared this decision, and the decision was further established in 2005, and we established the Emirates Advanced Sciences Institute, and the objective of that decision was to bolster and underscore the science sector in the country. Our economy relies to a great deal on technology. Let's be frank about it. Most of the technology, or all of the technology that we use to support our economy, are being purchased from overseas. So the vision of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum was that we cannot continue to do and to pursue our objectives to achieve a sustainable knowledge-based economy and innovation and creative economy without having this technology. So he established this institute and selected the space program as the first program on that institute or that establishment. And it was also a very important milestone for the UAE in the space sector. In that period, on that stage, we moved or we shifted from operators to the beginning of becoming manufacturers of satellites. The important point in the space sector and the vision of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum was that building and manufacturing satellites requires electrical engineering, electronic engineers, programmers, mechanical engineers, and mechanical systems. So we had to build capacities in all of those sectors which underscore the knowledge and science sector. There is nothing called a satellite engineer. There is no such a thing. A satellite engineer may have a aviation engineer, mechanical engineer, or programming. His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid was keen on starting the stage. He wanted the space program to be a catalyst for underscoring the strategic capabilities of the UAE in this sector. And we started the Dubai Sat-1 project. Our team was deployed in South Korea, and the Emirates participation in this program was 30% for knowledge transfer, not just for learning how to operate it, but how to design subsystems and different components of the satellites, and testing those components and compiling those components, and then launching them into space. Before the end of the project, Dubai Sat-1, and launching it in 2009 successfully. This was an important stage in 2009. Then the UAE entered the sector of manufacturing satellites. Before the end of that project, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid said that you represented only 30% of this satellite, and the entire system that we deployed in this satellite was was built upon systems developed by other countries. So he told us that we need to start working on manufacturing satellites from scratch. Of course, there was a knowledge transfer program because we required a great deal of experience in this regard. And we wanted to start a new system. Dubai Sat 1 is a remote sensing satellite. The image quality was 2.5 meter. So he wanted us to build or to establish and manufacture a satellite with the quality of 1 meter and with higher capacity and higher download speed. And it would be a new Emirati system. Work with the Koreans, no worries. So he declared the start of the work on Dubai Sat 2. We launched the program in 2013 successfully. And the Emirati participation level was raised from 30% to more than 50%. Young Emirati men and women developed highly critical components of this satellite in this project with great participation. And once again, before we launch Dubai Sat 2 in 2013, the government of the United Arab Emirates and His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum said that now it's high time we take the UAE to the next level. Now the final test was Khalifa Sat. He wanted us to develop the Khalifa Sat and to manufacture the Khalifa Sat satellite entirely, 100% in the UAE. Some people say 100%, there is nothing manufactured 100% in a single country. At the end of the day, manufacturing an entire satellite is one thing, and manufacturing it from zero or from scratch to 100% is a different thing. This was the first time to do that in the UAE, and this is a major achievement. At the same time, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid said, I don't want you to focus on this only. I want you to focus on another aspect. We wanted to support knowledge-based economy through the space sector by building the capabilities of the UAE in the space and sciences sector. But now it's time to delve deeper into more details. The vision of His Highness was that the focus was on the engineering side of the project. So he said, how can we build a comprehensive system in the space sector? He wanted to transfer this knowledge to other sectors in the UAE. If we're talking about the knowledge and science and technology sector, we need engineers, but we still need scientists. So we need science and technology. We need both of them. The scientists would discover new things, and the engineers would take those new theories and convert them into new technologies to be deployed in different domains. They would work together and collaborate to complement one another. And this was an important aspect for His Highness. This was one of the milestones set by His Highness Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed and His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid for the Hope probe. His message was clear and directives clear. He said that this is not the space sector only. It is a national project that would mobilize all sectors. They wanted a qualitative and rapid shift in the academic sector, industrial sector, economic sector, and the space sector itself. That's why he wanted us to look at Mars. Yet they wanted something else. They said that this project will not only play a major role in the UAE like the Hope probe, we wanted to play a major role at the region, at the level of the entire region. We want this to be a strong message to Arab young people in the entire region. Back then, in the year 2013 and 2014, the Arab Spring was heavily covered in the media and was affecting the region extensively. Unfortunately, it had a negative impact on the region. Back then, different groups appeared and had extremist mentalities, and many Arab young people joined them. We are talking about a region which has more than 100 million young men and women with great mental capabilities. And many countries in the region, in terms of the governments, they failed. They failed to utilize the young people's capabilities. So they had two options: either emigration from the region and leaving the region as is, or joining extremist groups and becoming creative and innovative at the wrong side of innovation. So the message of His Highness Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed and His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid, the message was that if the UAE can reach Mars in less than 50 years, you as Arab countries, with all your long-standing history and your great legacy in producing knowledge almost 800 years ago, this is the land of tolerance and knowledge for more than 800 years. Then you can make even greater achievements. You can lay aside all your differences and work with everyone to develop your countries. And therefore, His Highness Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed and His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid set the 2nd of December 2021 for the whole probe. They wanted the whole probe to be to reach Mars before the 2nd of December 2021, the golden jubilee for the establishment of the UAE. But when they talked to us about that in 2013, we declared the launch of this project, the beginning of this project, in 2014. The opportunity to reach Mars would take place only once every 2 years, because the orbit of Mars around the Sun is greater than Earth. So you can reach the red planet when it is at its closest proximity to Earth. It's a major challenge. Other countries would take, let's say, 10 to 12 years to start a mission, a Mars mission, and send it to Mars. We had only 6 years to do that. And the project was declared in 2014, so our opportunity was in 2016, 2018, and 2020. However, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid set another requirement for the team. He said that you must develop that probe. You cannot buy it. You will build it and not buy it. Collaborate with other entities the same way you collaborated with other entities. This is the first time the UAE sends a mission to another planet. This is the first time an Arab country thinks of exploring outer space. 50% of the missions sent to Mars failed. So he said, learn from other people's mistakes. Don't start from scratch. He said the mission must be scientific and must not be covering something that was covered by earlier missions to Mars. The scientific question that you will answer must be questions that we have not had an answer for before. So we need to add to knowledge and thereby help and serve humanity by producing knowledge. And the second objective was requiring that how can we make this project become a tool for generating new opportunities for Emirati young people to join the scientific domain. With regards to the career track, since the establishment of the UAE, engineers have had a very clear path in their career with regards to their development and professional development. More than 45 years, the country has been investing heavily in engineers. However, with regards to scientists, the job opportunities were quite limited for them. Either they teach at school, as a science teacher at school, or a science professor at universities, or work in a number of government labs only. So His Highness Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed and His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid wanted, through the whole probe project and the space sector in the UAE, to be able to generate opportunities for scientists, so that scientists would have the same opportunities for, just like engineers, so they would complement one another's roles. And therefore, after the declaration about the project, a number of initiatives were launched to support scientists, including the UAE Scientists Council, an entire ministry headed by Her Excellency Sharaf bint Yusuf Al-Amiri, and the Minister of State for Advanced Sciences. She is also supporting the Hope Probe mission and leading the science team at the Hope Probe, and this shows the great support offered by the UAE government for this sector. Moreover, through this project, Their Highnesses wanted to achieve a qualitative and major leap in the academic sector and industrial sector. Thank God we are collaborating extensively with the academic sector. The UAE universities, which did not have any programs in the scientific domain, started establishing new colleges and new faculties in physics and mathematics. Students who used to study international relations, economy, moved and shifted their career to study scientific branches, and we have seen this in front of our own eyes. The schools at the UAE, they started embedding in their syllabuses new and advanced sciences that have to do with space and so on. All of this started with a single decision by the decision makers in the UAE. By heading to Mars, they made a great leap in the space sector and other sectors as well. The space sector, after the declaration of the whole probe mission, the team itself, responsible for the project, with support, or provided support, and even with regards to implementing major strategic projects that were launched afterwards, including the Mars 2071 mission, and I'll talk about that later. The project of the astronauts and other projects that you will hear about in the future. Now we have a number of projects. Let's say we have the 2170 Mars 2071. Why did the UAE declare that mission? Unfortunately, the mission was not covered in the proper manner. I have to be honest with you. It was covered as if it was a real estate project. But this is a strategic project that was declared by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid and His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed. The objective of that mission is not building a settlement for the UAE on Mars after 100 years, but to ensure that the UAE participates in helping the first manned mission to Mars in collaboration with the entire human race. And another important message to the Emirati young people. They said, the Emirati young people said, what will happen after the Mars mission? You want this sector to mobilize other sectors. What about the job opportunities we will get in other sectors? So this was a message from His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid and His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed to the Emirati young people that we have guaranteed work for you in the space sector for 100 years. As scientists, you will have work in this domain for the next century. So the priorities of this project, the Mars 2117 is providing safety in energy and in water, and if we can develop the technology that will enable humans to survive on the red planet Mars. Mars is a dead planet. The vast majority of the atmosphere is composed of carbon dioxide, so it's a toxic planet. 4 billion years ago, scientists believed that Mars was quite similar to Earth. However, something happened on the planet and turned it into a dead planet. So this is very important to understand this. But enabling humans to survive on that planet, to be able to eat and drink and live there and send them, it's a very cold planet as well. The average temperature on the red planet is minus 65. In Mars there are 4 seasons, just like Earth. But the highest temperature is 25 Celsius. But the lowest temperature reaches to 100, minus 100, 165, minus 165 Celsius. This is, it also has very difficult topography. And they say it's a perfect testing site. So if technology can operate there, it will solve many problems that we have here on Earth. On Earth, technology, if we have technology on the desert, this technology can work in a desert and a difficult desert terrain, but this does not guarantee that this technology will be able to function and operate on an extremely cold or underwater environment. So if we develop technology for a very cold area, or underwater, or in the air, it will be efficient only under those circumstances and those topography. If I transfer to a hot area or a desert area or a mountainous area, it may not work. The best thing about space is that the technology you develop, whatever it is, will be able to function at the most extreme topography and temperatures, hot and cold. So if it can function in space, it will work perfectly well anywhere on Earth. So this was the objective of the Mars 2117. And this is the main objective of the Emirates or the UAE space program, to face strategic challenges for the UAE through the space sector, either with regards to building the necessary infrastructure that we need to develop the industrial sector, or to support the efforts of the United Arab Emirates with regards to something that has to do with scientific diplomacy, or important environmental economic challenges that we need to face as the UAE. So now we have reached a very important phase in this project. When we talk about, we're not just talking about a project in the space sector, we are talking about the future of the space sector and what will be the next level or the next stage. It's the stage of knowledge transfer to other sectors. Thank God, the infrastructure that we need to support this sector is underway, being developed, and we are developing it every single day. And this process will continue. It will not stop, God willing. However, we don't need to restrict it. We don't need to restrict it to the academic sector. We want to transfer this knowledge to the private sector and to the main other sectors in the UAE. So this question that now we as the work team in the whole probe and in the UAE space program, this is the question that we are focusing on and which will be the focus of our talk in the near future. So I wanted to share with you a brief glimpse about the history and the progress of space sector in the UAE. I talk about how we started. We did not start from scratch. We learned from others. International collaboration is key for the development of our progress in the UAE. And the friendly relations that we have with our friendly countries helped us a lot to obtain this knowledge, to obtain this highly advanced knowledge. Forgive me for taking too much time. I just wanted to open the floor and open the domain actually for all of you if you have any questions, and if you like to clarify anything, I'm more than happy to do it. Thank you. Would like to thank Engineer Omran Sharaf for this wonderful and highly stimulating lecture in which he talked about the progress and march of the UAE towards outer space and space services, which went through a number of phases, starting from utilizing and operating space and satellite systems, and reaching up to the stage of sending the first Emirati astronaut to space under the umbrella of the wise vision of the wise leadership of the UAE and future perspective on space and the importance of space sciences to develop and support other sciences. And also in light of the firm belief of the UAE that the Emirati young people can compete in this domain. Now we'll open the floor to questions. Please, if you have any questions, please make your question as brief as possible to take as many questions as we can. And therefore, the compassion and the mercy. My name is Dr. Ben Aoud Al-Amoudi. I was a former consultant for the UNDP. Actually, I would like to thank Engineer Omran Sharaf. We are really proud of you as an Emirati young man, one of the prominent leading Emirati figures in this highly important domain. Every single word that you said and every definition that you have clarified for the role of the UAE is highly important. These are all the cornerstone of hope that will light the path, not just for the UAE or the GCC, but for all Arab countries. This is the objective, and this is based on the directives of His Highness Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed and His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid and His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed. Because the leadership, when the leadership is on the right path, work can be achieved and delivered. Engineer Omran, the space system and the sciences that the UAE is working on, and the sciences and research that has been underway for hundreds of years, is a comprehensive system, especially in the space sector and space exploration of other planets. As you have kindly pointed out, the UAE is taking all these steps is a single-handed manner, in the sense that it is making its own achievements for the UAE and the world. At this stage, does the UAE work independently, or is it working within the international system for making those explorations? The second question, since we are working on the aspect of sustainability, the center, the MBRSC, does it qualify? Does it have a center for knowledge transfer, for transferring knowledge through an academic center, a training program for future generations to achieve sustainable development? Thank you very much. Thank you for the question. From the perspective of is the UAE working independently in researches that we are conducting in the space sector? To be quite honest with you, the beautiful thing about space industry is that international cooperation is critical. No country can work independently in this regard. No country can send a mission to Mars on its own. You have European missions, you have American missions, you have Russian missions to Mars. All of them gather data, and then the international scientific community share this information because they complement one another. So part of this, of course, part of the effects are the risks and the budgets. The beautiful thing about space is that everyone wants to share the risk-taking process. It's not just a single country that faces those risks or undertakes all of the risks. And each one of them wants to bring something new or reach new information or answer a new scientific question to complement one another. So even if we talk about science and technology in general, science diplomacy, scientific diplomacy is one of the things that started a long time ago, even after the beginning of the Cold War. At the peak of the Cold War, the Soviet Union and the USA scientists from both countries used to gather in international scientific conferences and showcase their achievements and their knowledge and share knowledge with all other countries. The countries that were close-minded or worked confidentially on those aspects remained at that level. The countries that were more open and sharing knowledge and discussing those topics developed the most. The objective is that, yes, maybe we don't have very good political relations with a certain country, but the knowledge that they have, I will benefit from it. And on the other hand, I also have to benefit them one way or another. So this is what spurred this massive development in the USA and the Soviet Union was this kind of collaboration, and for other countries as well. As for the knowledge transfer programs at the MBRSC, it is the cornerstone of all of our activities. The entire focus on the center is mainly based on knowledge transfer, because we have built capacities not just in building satellites, but for developing satellite communication systems and command and control systems. So everything that we have, the capabilities that we have, we obtained it through knowledge transfer. So the entire team at MBRSC is working with different academic entities outside the UAE to transfer knowledge to them. But as I've mentioned, this is the next level, the next stage, which is not limited to the academic aspect. We want to develop and implement this knowledge in reality. That's why in the Hope Probe we worked with the TPI company, which is considered one of the important companies collaborating with Tawazun, manufacturing airplane parts. We worked with them to develop the systems, and we helped them manufacture certain components in the Emirate of Abu Dhabi for satellites, which are currently being used in the Hope Probe, and they will, God willing, it will reach Mars, and those components will reach Mars, and this will be more like a certificate, the quality certificate of the standard of quality achieved by the Emirati industries. This is what we try to achieve. Another question or comment, please? Peace be with you. I'm engineer Mohammed Saleh, and then from Allah. I want to ask about the projects, the Mars exploration projects. There are many challenges, but they are not impossible from the engineering aspect. But how does the UAE deal with the massive budgets required for those projects, especially that the failure rate is high? And at the same time, how it can continue to boost and use the communication projects? How can we face this challenge? This is a very important and critical question. This is actually a critical question to the future of the space sector and our activities. With regards to the budget, I wanted to clarify something. The Hope Probe project, we have a very limited budget, and it will be declared in a timely manner. But it's not like NASA's budget. It's limited. His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid and His Highness Sheikh Mansour bin Zayed, their Highnesses said that we must implement these projects in a different manner. You don't have 10 or 12 years. You have only 6 years. Secondly, the major budgets that other countries spent, you will not give you this budget. In the UAE, when we want to do something, we want to do it in our own way, with an Emirati imprint or touch on it. So this is the first side. In the Hope Probe, and God willing, in a timely manner and in the right time, we'll declare about this, or we'll declare this limited budget. With regards to risks, as I mentioned, the Hope Probe project is a strategic project. It's not a commercial one. The Mars mission and other planets exploration missions, part of them is the technology we develop. How to develop those technologies, and those technologies will be used in other sectors in the future. Another aspect is international collaboration. Of course, this is my own perspective. The most important and convenient planet for humans is Earth. we were created from the soil of this planet. So it's the organic planet for us is Earth. However, Mars, scientists believe that 4 billion years ago it was quite similar to Earth, but now it's dead. So our understanding of Mars will help us understand our own planet and our solar system and the changes happening in them.
وفوق هذا
Above all of that, it's a gold standard for developing industries and the different sectors that we have in the UAE and in the world generally, and facing the challenges that we have. As I mentioned, and I keep mentioning this, I used this example several times and use it once again. Not very long ago, we were still young, of course, they used to tell us that solar panels are useless for the UAE. Why? Because it's too hot here, you know. They said that solar panels will downgrade the performance. Solar panels in the UAE has very high temperatures, and they will be very much downgraded. And moreover, we have too much dust, and we, unlike America, which cleans it almost once to 3 months, we'll have to clean it on a daily basis. But when NASA decided to head to Mars and put a rover on the red planet, and of course there's a lot of dust in Mars. The storms that that take place on Mars continue for months. So we need to use solar panels in Mars. So they developed a technology to be placed on top of solar panels to do what? To remove dust automatically. So this required us to go to Mars to be able to develop this technology for solar panels. Sometimes the nature of human development requires placing humans under very difficult circumstances to be able to achieve this without any shortcuts. So that's why those countries focus on exploring Mars. The third thing that I wanted to focus on is the culture of accepting failure. This is the latest culture that the decision makers in the UAE wanted to inculcate and instill into the minds of officials and Emirati young people. Your job as an official, you are of course responsible as an official, but it's not for protecting yourself or your position. It's about developing yourself and taking calculated risks, well calculated risks, educated and studied risks. Because how will you develop without risks? You need to fail a couple of times and then you will succeed. After 10 times or 10 attempts, you will succeed. Failure is an option, but failure to progress is not an option. I hope that I've answered your question. Another question or comment? Peace be with you. My question is about not launching the UAE from the UAE. As I heard, it will be launched from Japan. From June until December 2021. It's a long period of time, almost 1 year and 6 months. Why won't it be launched from the UAE? Why won't you launch the mission from the UAE? Of course, from the launch site, whether it takes 7 months to reach Mars, regardless of where it will be launched from. The journey to Mars, we use our own propulsion systems that were developed by our own team after it detaches from the main rocket. The probe will have crossed more than 600 million kilometers until it reaches the red planet. This is a very important a normal stage to explore any other planet, Mars or any other planet. As for the launch technology, the UAE focusing on our program is a peaceful program. So the clear and real objective is boosting knowledge and knowledge-based economy and facing our challenges, water security and energy security. These are the key pillars of and objectives of the UAE space technology. Launching satellites, the launching technology has military and civil implications. But we are not looking into this because it requires a different set of budgets and much bigger budgets actually. And secondly, the launch sites are limited to certain countries for a number of reasons. Japan has a launch site in a distant and remote island. So if anything, God forbid, happens, the rocket will fall in the ocean. Even Russia launches its rockets from Kazakhstan, a remote area, where God forbid if the rocket collapses or fails, it will not cause any damage. The same thing applies to France, which conducts the launch from another. The USA is different because it's a huge country. It has different options. So, can we build a launching site? Yes. Would it be the most convenient and best launch process? Of course not, because we'll have to use more fuel and will not be able to place our satellites in all orbits, and this will be very costly to develop a higher system or a more comprehensive system. So the ROI in terms of economic aspects, I'm not talking about other aspects, it is more important to focus on the satellites. We have good challenges, but they will be highly beneficial and able to use the technology, be able to use the technology in other sectors. Last question or comment, please. Please. The gentleman here. The lady. Peace be with you. My name is Ibn Hashimi from the Space Center from Khalifa University. My question is, what's the objective of the Mars mission? Given the fact that some countries sent rovers and failed and many countries failed. What's the objective of going to Mars and how will we ensure success? How will we be different from other countries? Thank you. We have a number of objectives. We have strategic objectives that have to do with the UAE. We need a strategy for the entire region, and we have scientific objectives that concern the international scientific community. As for the strategic objectives of the region, we want to change the culture of Arab young people and to send a message to them. If the UAE was able to reach Mars in less than 50 years, you, Arab people, Arab young people, with your history and with your previous achievements, you can make much and many more achievements and build your own countries. The strategic objectives for the UAE, we have challenges. Economic challenges, challenges with regards to water security, food security, and energy security. So to face those challenges, we need to build Emirati capabilities in the scientific and technical aspects. His Highness Sheikh Mohammed and His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed wanted to change the culture in the academic sector and the industrial sector and so on, and build a reputation for the UAE through the Hope Probe project. From the perspective of the scientific objectives, the Hope Probe, God willing, will be the first probe to provide humanity and the international scientific community, provide them with the comprehensive data about the relationship between the lower and higher levels of the atmosphere of the planet. Other missions were sent previously to study this topic, but they were sent on a specific season and for a specific time. For the first time, the UAE would provide this for this community, comprehensive data about the topography and the composition of the Mars atmosphere at different times of the day and at different seasons. For example, today in Mars, one day is 24 hours and 40 minutes. That's a single day on Mars. So this is with regards to the scientific objectives. Why did the UAE head there despite the high risks? We have to take risks. Other countries took the same risks and reached their objective. Whether they achieved, the entire mission was successful or failed, the key objectives for producing knowledge, they were successful in that regard. They gained the knowledge whether the mission fails or succeeds. They gained the knowledge and utilized in many sectors and in many missions. So this is the vision of the UAE for exploring outer space. Thank you very much, Engineer Omran. Sharaf, would you like to conclude by a final word? In conclusion of this lecture, on behalf of His Excellency Dr. Jamal Sanad Al-Suwaidi, Director General of the ECSSR, I would like to express appreciation for Engineer Omran Sharaf, the Project Manager of the Emirates Mars Mission Hope Probe at MBRSC, and I would like to thank all of you, our dear guests, and we hope to meet you in the future. Thank you, and peace be with all of you.